Hello everybody, it's your pal Gracious over here, and today's video is going to be a little mix of me introducing my characters and giving you guys a couple of tips and tricks of some character designing stuff, but also writing characters. I know I've made a video a while back of me giving some tips for character design, and even though it is a bit out of date since some of the designs that I showed in that video have been updated, a lot of what I said in the video are still tips that I use to this day. So yeah, like I said, I will also might be going over a bit of tips of how to write a character, and yeah, if that is something you are wanting to do. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional at all, and these are things that I have learned about, but still have a lot to learn myself. And yeah, but for the most part of this video, I will be introducing my characters for my new comic that I'm working on. Yay! And with that, sit back and enjoy this video. So the characters that I am showing on screen right now are my characters for the comic Mysteries of Distearia, which is on my webtoon now, and you can start reading the first few chapters, and yeah, it's a good time. I'm updating every other Friday, and the link is in the descriptions. Oh yeah, check that out. The story is about these two explorers of the universe that get stuck in the small world called Distearia and have to do dangerous jobs in order to get enough money to leave. Along the way, they uncover secrets about a drug dealing group there and meet two other important characters along the way. The first character on screen is one of the explorers. His name is Cozy. Yes, spelled exactly like it is on screen. I'll go over why in a bit. You'll notice in this video that there will be little flashes of the other characters on screen, and the reason for that is because I drew these in the exact opposite order I will be showing you. So yeah, hopefully that won't be too distracting. But anyway, this is Cozy, and he is a bear animaka, which in this universe are basically the humanoid animal species. He and his brother originally lived on the world Heridat, but due to many issues they had to leave and become explorers. Cozy is pretty happy-go-lucky and loves both adventuring and helping people. For the most part, he's pretty optimistic, but he can get pretty nervous sometimes about some things. There is a side to him that can get pretty scary, but I probably won't get too much into that in this video. You'll just have to read the comics to find out about that. His weapon of choice is called the Ruby Sword, and it can teleport into his hand when he needs it. He does have the ability to create some energy barriers. However, this is a very limited ability, and he doesn't use it often when he fights. He's actually one of my first characters I've ever made when I was like 8, and he's based on my favorite teddy that I've had forever. The reason why his name is spelled like that is because I cannot spell. Couldn't then, couldn't now. When I finally realized how the word cozy is actually spelled, I realized it was too late. But hey, it makes his name look cooler anyway. For his design, I wanted the red and purple elements of his outfit to pop, especially his scarf. So for the rest of the outfit, I stuck to a mainly grayscale palette with light grays and dark grays. I think it does a good job at doing that, and yeah, as far as shape language goes for the design, which is something that I talked about in my previous video about characters, I stuck to mainly circles and squares. I find that using two shapes can work as well as one, and is actually a bit easier to do. My intent for Cozy's character is to be the light in an overall darker setting, at least at first. When it comes to characters, I always try to not let them be too static, and I try to always write some sort of arc for a character to go through, especially if they are one of the main characters, of course. I think that's really important for story writing in general. Not all of your characters have to go through an arc, it just depends on how important they are to the story. Like, of course, Cozy is going to go through a character arc because he's like the main character, or one of the main characters. So yeah, that's why I did that. But anyway, here is Cozy's finished picture and a little bit of info on him. Now, on to the next character. The next character is Ricky, Cozy's brother and fellow explorer. He is half wolf animaka and half astroborn. Astroborns are one of the oldest species in this universe, and they all have white hair and pale skin, and most of them have either telekinetic, telepathic, or teleportation powers. With Ricky, since he's half astroborn, this means that he is able to channel into the magical energy that animakas haven't had in a long time. Thousands of years ago, animakas used to have the ability to create or affect different elements of the weather, so storms, fog, snow, etc. Ricky has the ability to create lightning and electricity. He mostly channels this ability into his hands since he fights in hand-to-hand combat. As far as his personality goes, he's pretty moody and serious. He's the one who usually takes the deals for jobs, and he usually isn't afraid to get his hands dirty to finish a job, though he tends to regret it later sometimes, depending. That's a whole character thing for him. He's also very protective of his brother. Despite these things, though, he's got a soft side to him, but he doesn't like to show it unless he trusts you. Now, as far as his current design goes, I will be honest in saying that I really don't like it. I will be redesigning it for chapters 2, so if you don't like it either, don't worry, this will not last for long. But the main ideas I wanted for his design was to be primarily blue and use squares for shape language. You'll also notice that he has marking on his arm. Those are lightning scars. I imagine he got those when he was younger and just learning how to use his powers. That's another thing for characters that you could do, is to give them markings or scars from the past. It shows how they had a past and gives them a little more character. His scar is also meant to be shaped like a heart at the top, which was actually inspired by my cat and his heart shape that he has on his bottom. Yeah, that's my cat, by the way. It's also there for symbolism, since the heart is on his sleeve in a sense, but that's something Ricky doesn't like to do, kind of thing. You know, symbolism can be cool to add to your character as well, and all that stuff, so yeah. Anyway, that's Ricky. Now on to the next one. The next character is a character that I really enjoyed drawing and writing, and I'm very excited for his debut in Chapter 2. This is Blank. Yep, that's his name. No, I will not be explaining it because that's important to the story. He may seem like a wolf animaka, but he isn't actually a wolf animaka. He's an Akuma, and I won't go over too much about why he's different since that gets covered in the story and I don't want to spoil anything. But I will say that he was basically experimented on and stuff, so that has stuff to do with it. And for Miraculous fans, no, I'm not talking about these Akumas. I didn't realize that these were also called Akumas until I named these guys, my characters, Akumas. So just keep that in mind. I did not mean to intentionally steal from that. It's just Akuma was another word for demon, and I just thought that was cool, so yeah. He's super agile and nimble, and he has the ability to turn his hands into deadly claws, so he makes for quite the assassin. However, he is actually a bounty hunter. He just tends to fight like an assassin. He can also do other things other than his claws, but I, again, don't want to spoil anything. As far as his personality, it's hard to put into words, but the best I can do is he's pretty flirty, very smart, pretty sweet when it comes to people he's close to, but when he's not, he tends to be pretty mysterious. He has a side to him that can get pretty kind of scary as well whenever you bring up a certain person. But yeah, he's probably my favorite character to write, mostly because of his personality, and he's got one heck of a backstory. Backstories are super fun to write for characters, and some advice I have for writing them is to not get too overboard with anything. If you feel like you need to change anything about them, and if you can, then that's fine, and make sure it makes sense for your character and story. For Blank's design, I wanted it to be obvious that he's an agile fighter by giving him tighter and darker clothes. It might also seem a bit obvious, but I wanted his flirtatious nature to come across with his clothes. I also included some diamonds and sharper edges throughout his design, again for shape language, and gave him a very purple and black color palette with some silver accents. Yeah, also if you're wondering why he has like a sheer shirt under his top, which wouldn't do too well in fighting normally, but my excuse is that in this universe this sheer material is a sort of protective armor that's like in disguise and stuff, so yeah, that's my excuse. If you looked closely, you'll notice that I gave Ricky gold accents, and I did that on purpose to create a sort of pairing dynamic with them in their designs, and also gave Blank silver accents. I did that because, well, I forgot to mention that there might also be stuff about love and relationships in the story, and these two might be the center of that. So yeah, be excited for that. This design thing is something I find myself doing a lot. You'll notice that I did the same thing for my gods back in the speed paint, where I gave gold accents for my god of death and silver accents for my god of life. So yeah, that's another thing you can do when it comes to pairing characters, is to give them matching accents colors, because that's always fun. Yeah, and anyway, that is all I have for blank. Now on to the last character. This last character's name is Thorn. Not Thorn Oakenshield. Shut up. I chose that name because it sounded like Thorn, and for lore reasons that makes sense. You'll see as the comic progresses. Thorn is the hardest to talk about because there's a lot about him I don't want to spoil, but I'll tell you what I can. Thorn is a bounty hunter who's friends with Blank. He has the ability to shapeshift into other people, which has given him a huge advantage when it comes to his work. You'll notice that he also wears a mask over most of his face. That is also for lore reasons. This drawing of him actually took the longest out of the rest because I had to draw two of him, one with the mask and one without, and he was also the first one I drew. So yeah, Thorn is a pretty mysterious character, and they're also pretty cocky too, so this often causes people to find him a bit annoying. Again, I can't really go too much into detail about him without spoiling anything, so yeah, but I will say that Cozy does find him the most annoying, which is funny because Cozy usually is the one that trusts people the most, so I just found that dynamic to be funny, so you'll see that a lot in the comic. As far as his design goes, I'm not sure if I'd like it either, but for now it's alright. I'll probably change it before chapter 2, but yeah, his design is meant to look like what a lot of people in Distearia wear with the more formal attire. They often end up wearing stuff to blend in with their surroundings, so that's the cause behind that. And he also has a little bit of inspiration from Blank with his outfit as well, as you can see with his legging pant things. I'm not sure what they are. Again, I am probably going to change his design a bit before he shows up in chapter 2. Yeah, but that is always a good thing to consider when designing a character, is the story and reasoning why a character wears or look a specific way. This can help a character feel like they belong in the story and in the world, and make their role a bit more clear. I also forgot to mention that he uses a gun primarily to fight, so that's why he has those bullets on his belt. They also fight with some bombs as well, but those are hidden in his pouch and jacket, so yeah. And with that, that pretty much wraps up this video. I know it was a bit shorter, but yeah, it's just shorter. So yeah, one thing I do want to say is that if you saw the footage, you'll notice how I was filling in their information and was writing stuff down about their sexualities. But I decided to leave that information out just because I needed some more space for all of the other information. But also, I was going to add their pride flags, but it didn't really look well with the rest of the color palette. If you are curious though, Thorn, Blank, and Ricky are all gay, and Cozy is demisexual. Also, Thorn is a demi-boy and uses he/they pronouns. That is why I was using he/they pronouns whenever I was talking about Thorn. If you don't know what any of that meant, I would encourage you to look it up. It is Pride Month after all. Happy Pride Month, yeah. These characters, as well as my other artworks, are on my socials linked below. Again, do not forget to read Mysteries of Distearia on my webtoons. It's out now. A good few chapters are out already, so yeah, you can go ahead and catch up. Read chapter 1, and then chapter 2 will be out, and yeah. I also have another comic called Lost Charts as well that I am updating frequently, so yeah, go check that out as well. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!